Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube and Facebook. We're so excited for tonight. So you are tuning in or participating in the Teens Interview Mayoral Candidates live stream. This has been a really cool project over the last few months with teens from 3 different rec centers and in partnership with Parks and Rec Heroes Fund. I am the co-host tonight. My name is Nunaira. I was the project producer. And I had the amazing opportunity to train the kids or train the teens in interview and video production, and as well as watch them facilitate interviews with 8 mayoral candidates. And it was incredible to watch. And I'm excited to announce the real host. I'm just your backup. DJ, who's one of the teens, or introduced. So take it over, DJ.
Good evening, everyone. My name is DJ. I'm an 18-year-old senior at Imhotep Institute Charter High School and a soon-to-be freshman at Shippensburg University. Some of my contributions to this project is I was an interviewer, I was a producer, a director, and also a cameraman. Next, I would like to introduce our recreational leaders. First, I would like to start with my recreational leader at Piccoli Playground, Bryant.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bryant Payton. I'm the recreational leader at Piccoli Playground. I've been with the department for about 8 years. We were so excited to be a part of this project. We got involved because our teens were a part of our teenage podcast program, in which we were running for a while. And we thought that the teens would gain a lot of experience, and it would be a great opportunity for the teens to learn more about interviewing and also working with Nunaira and the wonderful things she taught the teens with cameras and directing and a whole bunch of great activities.
Mr. Jamil?
Jamil, you need help getting off mute? Let me take you off mute. All right. Well, let's have Mrs. Jamil go because we're having some audio issues with Mr. Jamil.
No relation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamil Mitchell. I'm a rec leader at Sturgis Playground. I've been with Philadelphia Parks and Recreation for about 9 years. I work with Brian with the Team Podcast. One of the wonderful benefits of this was we got to work with teens throughout Philadelphia. So they got to understand the commonalities, and get a perspective on politics and how it plays a part in their daily and their future lives. So it was a great program to be a part of.
Yeah. Mr. Jamil, if you can get off of mute.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cornelius Jamil Edwards. I'm the rec leader at Penrose Recreation Center. One of the main reasons why I wanted to be a part of this program was because I wanted to allow the kids to know what it meant to be a leader. I wanted them to have an opportunity to meet the bigger candidates and a chance to have their words heard. It was a great opportunity for them to and experience something that only comes around every 4 years in their lifetime. So it was a wonderful opportunity for them to know what to do and who to vote for. So hopefully this will give them opportunity to promote who they think is the best leader for our city.
Yes, sir. So I would like to say thank you to all of the recreational leaders that made this possible to put us into this opportunity and giving us the perspective to set us up for our futures. Next, I would like to introduce the teams that are part of this teen production team. First, Jakaya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. My name is Jakaya Wright. I'm 14 years old. I go to Kent Preparatory Academy, and my role in this project, I did producing, I did directing, I did interviewing, and for like one day I did cameras. It was fun.
Justin, would you like to go?
Absolutely. So, hey, everybody. My name is Justin Hart. I am 20 years old. I graduated from Science Leadership Academy at Bieber. I'm currently working with a nonprofit. And my positions within this experience was being able to be a producer, an interviewer, and also even getting a chance to be able to do some camera work along with it.
Yes, sir. Jaden, would you like to go?
Yes, I will. Hello, everyone. My name is Jalen. I'm an RSI at Sturgis Playground. I graduated from Paul Robeson High School in 2021. And the positions I had, I took part in producing. I was a part of the camera crew, and I was also a part of the cleanup crew.
Yes. So I would like to thank all of the teams that were a part of this. It was just a big help. It was just a big thank you to be beside you guys. Next, I have a question that I would like you guys to answer. I will also answer myself, and I will go first. What has this experience taught you about politics? Some things that I can say that this experience has taught me is that politics move very fast. You always have to move with a sense of urgency. You always have to have a strategy planned out for yourself. While it's not the easiest thing in the world, but with the right planning and the right team beside you, it's not the hardest thing in the world either. Justin, would you like to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like you're definitely spot on. I definitely saw that as well. And actually, something else that I feel like I definitely saw with this experience about politics is that it's not as like scary and complicated that I kind of made it seem like in my own head ahead of this opportunity. I really thought that it was like, you had to be this much knowledgeable and you had to have this much background or whatever. And a lot of these people grew up in the same neighborhoods as us, went to high school similar to some of our friends, and they really live like us. They just have a few extra steps that they have took to get them in a position where they are, but they're not really that big or different from us. It really is just, not only the work that they're putting in, but even also the team that they're building. Just going back to what you were saying.
Definitely, definitely. Jakaya, would you like to go?
Yeah. What this taught me about politics was that what they want for the city in this context, what they want, it really, the roots of it is really how they came up and what they started out doing. And we seen that in a lot of the research that we did. We seen that in a lot of the question and how the questions were answered, that they really advocate for their story and their perspective at times.
Definitely, yes. Jalen, would you like to go?
So, so this experience, I was able to learn more about politics. Me personally, I didn't have too much interest in politics before. I found it a little boring, but you know, sitting through each of the mayoral candidates talking about their different ideas for the future of Philadelphia, it was like an eye opener for me. I was able to really listen in on what they had to say and really connect and relate to some of their thoughts. And like I said, it just opened my eyes, and I now know that since I'm registered to vote now, I gotta know. So
Definitely.
yeah, politics is not so boring to me anymore.
I'm happy to hear that. Miss Naila?
It's all right. I know you know my name. All right. Thank y'all for answering that question. So now this is what I think is the exciting part. We get to see clips of the interviews, and I just want to say that I think it is monumental what these teams have done. I lived in Philly for 8 years. I'm originally from Chicago. And I don't know about you all, but I'm always like, who do I vote for? And let me go do some research and all this. And I feel like these teams have laid the groundwork for the entire city to get to know the candidates. They've asked some really, really important questions. And they know a lot of information. So y'all might want to hit them up. Go find them on social and be like, what you know about this candidate. But so without further ado, we are going to watch, and I ask that you stay on for the duration of the clips. They're about 17. Everything is 17 minutes long. We're going to see 6 of the 8 candidates. 2 of the candidates we interviewed dropped out. So we're not playing them tonight. But we will see 6. And I just ask that you stay on because we're going to have a Q&A when we come back. So without further ado, drum roll, please, DJ. All right, we will watch the clip. See you soon.
So starting off with this quote, no more glass ceilings, we need concrete pavers to lay a smooth path. Do you feel as though you're a paver for the community? Especially, being a woman, a black woman running.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty like exciting, isn't it? To be on this campaign trail, I've learned that there is no blueprint for someone like me, because no one like me, which means no one like you, has ever done this before. And it's thoroughly, it's exciting, but it's also very intense. It feels extremely purposeful. I'm very passionate about it. So the quote you referenced about needing concrete paths, the reason why I stated it is because when someone is usually about to build, or if you are going somewhere, you need a path to get there. And right, so breaking through a ceiling is not helping you get there, but a concrete path that provides direction on, where you can go, ways you can get prepared, how you can ensure that you're ready to compete.
What are your plans to increase neighborhood jobs for teens and young adults? What role will Parks and Rec play in your plan?
Everything I just said just now, right?
So-
But also you have to partner with the private sector, like too, and PYN does a great job. Another thing that I'm really, I think in high school you should have a day or two where you get some real world work skills. That's just me. I mean, that's extremely important. And I think we need to make sure the private sector is actively engaged. And I also think that people should have opportunities to earn while they learn. And you don't know what people's home life is like. I had a job when I was in high school, right? I was a contributor to my household. I was a contributor to taking care of myself. We should make sure our young people are getting real-time experience and within all of the industries that are growing and thriving in the city of Philadelphia. And we want to make sure it happens under a Parker administration.
I'm interested in learning about your plan as mayor as it pertains to the Philadelphia Parks and Rec. What are your plans to help the Parks and Rec of Philadelphia?
You know, it's a strange situation with the Parks and Rec because like right now your budget is like $73 million. And you're looking for a dedicated source. So right now you get a lot of money from the beverage tax.
Right.
And there's a lot of talk. Some of the mayor candidates want to get rid of the beverage tax. It's been brought to my attention that they want to get, matter of fact, I have been on the record initially saying that if people don't want the beverage tax should go.
Right.
But that's all because of transparency, because the particular administration right now, they have never been transparent on how that money was supposed to be used. Because when they first brought it up, it was only supposed to be used for schools.
Right.
Now, we don't know exactly what it's being used for. I was so glad when I read that Parks and Recreation is getting the beverage tax, because that means that you're getting, other than the general fund money,
Right.
that you're also getting the beverage tax money, and that's what made Parks and Recreation do the rebuild program.
Right.
Where you're building basically like as you say it in Parks and Recreation, a playground at a time. So I want to keep that going on.
Philadelphia has a waiting list of 23,500 trees to be pruned and removed. How will you eliminate this blockage?
Well, that's one way. Remember, we were talking about forestry?
Yes.
Okay, so we can use those high school kids, but we can't use them up in the sky with
Right.
the pruning, but we can use them down in the ground, with various things. Youth Conservation Corps, or Youth Forestry Corps, where we'd put them to work to do certain things. Certain trees would have to come down.
Right.
With the right supervision. Not the bigger trees, but smaller trees. They could actually learn how to take a tree down,
Right.
that needs to come down. But we can only do it a little bit at a time, because the number 28,000 is a lot.
It is.
So again, we'd have to come up with a program similar to that 30-year program.
Yes.
Part of that 30-year program, we might have to knock out like maybe about 800 trees a year, pruning
Knock
a
it out.
minimum, to go along with that 30.
Right.
While we're building, we're knocking out.
I do want to ask, and something just with you coming to Philadelphia and running for mayor, just a little bit of a backtrack of your history. Your parents were your parents were born in Korea and they came over to the U.S. in the '60s, right? Mm-hmm. And so you was born in Seattle and then eventually moved over to Columbus, Ohio. And Brown, what time or what age or year did you come to Philadelphia?
Yeah, so I came to Philadelphia for college.
Okay.
So I spent like just a few years in Seattle, and then was raised most of my life certainly during my early years and school age years in Columbus, Ohio, in the Midwest, which was a really, fine place for me to grow up. I think I talked a little bit about it. I felt very isolated racially because there just wasn't a lot of diversity in, where I grew up. And I really felt a lot of that. I didn't always feel like, there was just a lot of incidences that happened both to myself, to my parents. I witnessed a lot happening to my parents, at work and other places where it felt like, we weren't part of, it didn't feel as welcoming. But I also did grow up in a community where, there was like a library that was open until 9 p.m. every single night. Maybe it closed at 7 on Sundays. But, when I didn't have books in English at home, I went to my local library, and, I didn't have a lot of diverse friends. So I got to meet people and learn how to, sew and play tennis and like run track through my rec center, because I wouldn't have had that otherwise.
How will you be able to make sure that Philadelphia's 300 parks and rec centers are safe and clean, so that way they can feel like that's a safe haven?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most important thing is that when a park and rec center is deeply unused, it becomes very unsafe, unclean, and probably not that welcoming. So we want to bring these things back to life. Now, absolutely, it starts with safety and cleanliness. But I do think that there are two things that the mayor has to do. One is to prioritize safety and cleanliness for parks and rec centers. I think we have seen that happen, and you can really see parks really clean up when they have assigned units to them, and making sure that they're sweeping through, and not allowing for illegal dumping, or when there are specific problems, you've got to address it. Not every rec center and park is exactly the same. Some may need once a week, some may need every day, honestly. And then, the important thing is that the outcome is the same. So if you're at a nice park in, a certain section of the city, but you're in a different park in another section of the city, it's not about them getting both the same number of trash cans, the same number of pickups. Some of them need more. And that is but the outcome has to be the same: a safe, clean, well-lit, bright place that is a safe haven for every young person and every family member or senior who wants to be part of it.
With your first term being in November of 2022, you're fairly new to politics. Mm-hmm. In comparison to your fellow candidates, Cheryl Parker, who's been around since 2005, and Maria Sanchez, who's been around since 2008, can you tell me about how you decided to take this path?
Yeah, so my first term started back in 2021. So this is my second term. I just won my first re-election. And I started on this path to serving my community and creating spaces that I felt as though I needed as a one of 7 children to a mother who was addicted to drugs. We experienced some serious hardships, bouncing around from home to home, shelter to shelter. At the age of 14, I was a victim of gun violence. I was shot at 56 in Market. Still to this day have the fragment lodged in between my ribs. Mm-hmm. And so through the years, I got involved in after-school programs and summer camps at a very young age, and then eventually became an entrepreneur and opened my own after-school programs and summer camps and daycares, early childhood education facilities, which we employed dozens of folks who several now went on to open their own childcare facilities. So then state representative in my community, the seat became open. And I ran in a special election. I was one of 4, I came second out of 4. And then that person vacated the seat and someone else filled it. And then I ran in the primary and won again. I mean, I won for the first time back in June, I think it was May or June of 2020.
You mentioned on benefit that you had a job when you were a young age. Mm-hmm. How it distracted you from the negativity. What are your plans to increase neighborhood jobs for teens, young adults, and what role will it play in parks and recs?
So part of our plan is to incentivize businesses, whether they're small businesses or large corporations, to give young people jobs, and then we'll offer some type of tax incentive to help get young people off of the streets and occupy their time. In addition to making sure we fully fund after-school programs, summer camps, and extracurricular activities.
How will you plan to expand recreation programs across Philadelphia?
So it's doing a full evaluation of each recreation center and site to make sure that each rec center has the appropriate tools they need to serve those communities, because no community is the same. So we will do an evaluation, check out what the needs are, and see how much more that we need to invest and put people to work and serve those communities.
I first wanted to ask, I saw that your first name was actually Michael. What made you stick with the middle name?
So I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I went to get my driver's license. And I asked my parents for my birth certificate, and they said, I looked at the birth certificate, it says, Michael Allen Dom. I've always been known as Alan. I was always known as Alan Michael Dom.
Really?
I was named after a great grandfather.
Okay.
And my parents decided to switch Alan with Michael. My father didn't like the initials M-A-D, Mad, so we switched it.
All right, that's fine. I've never heard of someone not knowing their first. So when did you get your license? Around
17.
17. So it took 17 years for you to know your first name was Michael. How could Parks and Rec help with reducing that violence? And how could you, take in command and say, this is what you got to do as mayor?
I think there's a couple of things. I'll just mention two because we don't have a time frame. More trees, number one. Okay. More trees in the city. And number two, I'm not just focused on summer jobs. I'm focused on jobs after school.
Like I said, year round.
This is what I did. It's my learned experience. Mm-hmm. So it's not just summer jobs. We should have jobs year round. It should be after school jobs, and it should be jobs in the summer.
So you think planting more trees will reduce the violence?
I think it will help. I think it will help. I think cleaning will help. I think when people see a clean neighborhood, there is less violence. There have been studies showing that. Mm-hmm. Look, some of these neighborhoods are terrible.
They are.
Terrible.
I actually saw something where you said your first, as a short-term goal, your first 100 days, you will be cleaning up all the lots and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I want to clean all the vacant lots. And look, we're going to have to engage the citizens to help us. This is a team effort.
And how exactly would you say that you will make sure that not only does Parks and Rec become clean and safe, but actually stay clean and safe?
I can only speak to my term as mayor, but I will say that Parks and Recs will have goals, we'll have strategies and tactics to achieve those goals, and they'll have to be held accountable, not by the Parks and Recs Commission, but also by the mayor.
What originally got you started in politics in the first place?
Yeah. So I actually started my career in the private sector in finance. Mm-hmm. And worked I'm from the Philadelphia area, but I spent about 7 years up in New York. And I worked for Wall Street, actually. But stay with me here. I worked on Wall Street at a company, Bear Stearns, doing trades with local governments across the country. And I saw how a lot of governments didn't make the best decisions for their governments just because they didn't have the financial expertise. And so I really wanted to go work for government because I'm very idealistic about making government work. And I felt that, government needs to work for people. So I left Wall Street to come back to Philly in 2008. To be the Mayor Nutter's city treasurer.
Philadelphia spends $50 per capita each year on Parks and Rec operations, while Baltimore does spend $127. So I'm going to ask, do you think that's enough? Because clearly you don't, but what do you think would be a more acceptable rate, for Philadelphia to at least get more, to at least start making an impact on the community?
That's a great question. And I wouldn't want to give a dollar figure. The way I would look at it though is, what would it cost to, what is the current status quo of the Parks and Rec programming in the rec centers across our city, and then as we, what will it cost to have after school programming every day as well as weekend programming? So what does that look like, and what is the cost structure of that? And then see how much more we can give. It's always a balance looking at what revenue we have available, but I feel that it's a necessity to have. I actually do think that creating a good community is the basis of health.
I wouldn't lie, and we bodied that.
Y'all did. I'm over here like, okay, you did a great job. Those are amazing. I'm a little biased, but I'm proud of y'all. So, all right, we can.
It was so inspirational. Next, after the videos, now we will be going into a Q&A with the production team. Please put any of your questions or comments into the comment section, and we will bring them up on screen, ask them on screen, and answer them on the screen. So the first question that we have here: which candidate was the most fun to meet with and interview? For me, I would have to say, not just because he was the only person that I was able to be the interviewer for, but I would have to say James DeLeon, just because I was able to really pick his brain and get a better understanding of how it feels to be a politician, the fast thinking, the being able to answer critical questions, the being able to say the right things at the right time. So I could really say James DeLeon was the funnest person to meet. Justin, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I definitely could go. I really hate this question. You would be surprised at how many times I get asked this question. I actually posted a picture I did that one of the candidates posted me, Alan Dom, and one of my friends commented, talk about, I want a funny mayor. So which one is the funniest? And so I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. But I think so far in our experience, I can definitely say I'm not going to say the funniest, but the first one definitely comes to my mind is Cheryl Parker. And then because she definitely brought a huge amount of energy into the room, and she was very vibrant. And like right tied with her really is like Almond Brown, and I would even say Alan Dawn to an extent, but I think Cheryl Parker definitely is like that first person to come to my mind.
Yeah. Jakai, would you like to go next?
Fun interview. Behind the scenes wise, Eamon Brown, he had a lot of patience with us. We had a lot of laughs with our dysfunctions and stuff like that. Helen Gim was fun to see because, it was virtual. That was a lot of fun to see. Sherelle was just inspiring for me personally. And it was fun to talk to her. I related to her a lot. And like DJ said, I got to like pick apart her and like identify certain parts of myself with her.
Definitely. Jalen, would you like to go next?
Yes, I do. I would have to agree with you, DJ. I'll say my favorite was also Jimmy DeLeon. I believe I was the director for that day, so I was there to go meet him and introduce myself into everyone else. And off the bat, I got a really good vibe. I think I know he was a humble person. He treated us like not like as just a group of teens, but like I feel like he treated us like adults. When he met everyone, he was kind, polite, humble. I think he's a pretty good role model as a mayoral candidate.
Definitely. The next question to pull up: what was the best part about producing these interviews? So what I can say is that the best part was definitely getting the opportunity to meet these people that we met, because young children in our position, not in our position, young children that's growing up with us in this generation don't get the opportunity to meet these type of people. Like, this is really a rare situation where people get to do what we have done. So I would definitely say that was the best part. Jakaya, would you like to go next?
The best part about producing these interviews for me, I'm big on research and I'm big on articles and stuff like that. So researching and going and building up questions with the interviewer when I have my time with producing, it was so fun to do, and I just found a lot of joy in that part. Yeah.
Jalen, would you like to go next?
Yep. So producing. When I was producing, I think my favorite part, I mean, I didn't really have a favorite part. I just like the overall experience. I had to really had to get into like, a producer character, because I'm like a quiet person. I'm kind of introverted. So I don't really talk a lot. But, talking to the mayors, introducing them to everyone, introducing myself, showing where they're going, stuff, that really helped me come out of my shell, really get into character, and setting up the cameras and stuff, learn how to work them, make sure I get the right picture, how far the chair part was. That was nice, and doing the research too. When I was doing research, I would see some stuff that would kind of go like against some of the mayoral candidates, but then meeting them and then hearing what they have to say in person, that just got rid of all the negative stuff that you see on the internet, and you can really see what their true intentions were, and that was an eye opener for me.
Yeah. Justin, would you like to go next?
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely a lot of key moments that I really found the most exciting throughout this whole experience. But I could definitely say overall, just the experience of being able to kind of build this process, whether, from doing research, whether I was an interviewer with my producer or if I was a producer with my interviewer, researching the background behind some of these candidates and seeing where were they before this time, how did they get here, even you're able to find their childhood sometimes online, and then kind of going up to them and asking them these questions. It's almost like we know something about you before we even met you, and it's like really almost amazing. And then not only that, but just getting to know their character in person, besides from reading it online or watching it on the video, is definitely amazing. And it's almost like you kind of be able to see where their real character is compared to what's scripted or what they're trained to say. And I love that part.
Definitely agree.
Should I add on to that?
No one said Mr. Naira panicking was their favorite part.
I love that part too. I love
that was definitely the funniest part.
I think I officially panicked for every interview. Everyone. Justin, I really got you on the last one with Rebecca. I was like, it's 5 minutes to show time. Y'all do not have a setup. No. Thank y'all for that. I want to go ahead.
Add on to that. I would like to add on to what Justin said.
Oh, go ahead.
I would like to believe that when the mayors met us there at the interview, I would like to think that they had like a different like character they played. Like I think they were being more real in the interview instead of like in front of like a bunch of group of people, like a big crowd or with the other mayor candidates. Because it was just them. It was kind of like a one-on-one. So I think they were able to open up more, and I believe they like that too. Open up about themselves and talking with people younger.
Yeah. To that point, I want to say a lot of them was like, this is one of the best interview I've done. So, shout out to y'all. Okay, so we have some comments from YouTube.
Yes.
Or some questions and comments. Well, first, Alex Jody, who is the executive director of Parks and Heroes Fund, who approached me last October, with this idea. And he said, thank you all for making this crazy idea work. So thank you to Alex for having this idea. It's a phenomenal idea.
Definitely.
Yay!
Yes. Okay. So Girl Boss says, how do you think residents should determine which candidate to vote for? So yeah. So how should the
I would like to go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I would definitely say do as much research as you can. Definitely look at interviews like the one we have done, articles, or even even some of their personal things that are available to the public. Just try to know as much of the candidate and their background as you can find. Justin, would you like to go next? Jakaya.
I'll go next. A way to determine which candidate, something I would do personally is I would look at a certain situation that I know is like a difficulty with Philadelphia, and with certain candidates, I would look up their opinions on it, or I would deep dive into some of their opinions, especially with things that are personal, like issues with like gentrification and whatnot. Like I would definitely look specifically stuff like that.
Justin?
Yeah, just to like, and my answer is basically a sum up of what both of their answers were. I think the first thing you should definitely do is just ask yourself, what do you want as a resident in Philadelphia? If you lived here long enough, then you know what Philadelphia should look like. You know what it's been looking like and what you want it to look like instead. And not only that, but the impact that you want from our government, whether local or federal. And so just write down, if you need to write down what you want, rank it up, what's most important to least important, and then do research on each one of the candidates and see which one actually speaks about these points and kind of will more work for you. Because that's all they're really here to do is work for you. So, and if you don't see any research with them answering any of the topics that you have listed, then shoot them an email or message, find a conference that they go to and try to ask a question there. But research, know what you want, and research. That's the big two things.
Yes. Jalen?
Yeah, I can really relate to everyone said, especially Justin. Definitely do your research. That's very important. But as I was going through interviews, like we're able to connect and relate to some things, and some things what the mayor said clicked to me. So find whatever mayor, what they're talking about, what their ideas and beliefs are, and you find out what really clicks with you. And if everyone's kind of clicking to what you say, like Justin said, everyone is from Philly. You're a resident from Philly, so just find out what you really have, like what your vision is for the future of Philly. You know how it is around here. What do you want to see how Philly looks like in the future? And whoever mayor says that, it really has your vision in mind, and go with that.
And most importantly, watch every interview that y'all did. Because you guys did a lot of research.
Shameless plug.
Yeah. Well, Justin, first of all, Justin, I was like, did you read you might as well wrote an autobiography on your candidates that you interviewed. You knew so much stuff. I said, I never even heard of this. But thank y'all for that. I also want to remind people again, we do have time for some more questions. So there are two. I want to do please forgive me if I say your name wrong. Muslima, I hope I said it right. Abdul Rahman. She said, unfortunately, I believe she. So Ms. Lima said, unfortunately, I came in after the interview presentations, but you young folks are amazing. You give me hope for our future. Will I be able to see the recorded session? So you definitely will. We will be, we are recording. Steve, our tech person, are we sending this out? You can give me a thumbs up if this will be, we're sending the link out, or would it be posted on the Parks and Rec YouTube page? Steve, we gonna put you on. Wait, where you at, Steve?
It's like I was actually just going to respond on Facebook to that question. It's a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone who came in late, no problem. As soon as this ends on Facebook, as soon as this ends broadcasting live, like within a couple minutes, you'll be able to instantly go back and watch the entire broadcast as many times as you like.
So it'll be on YouTube and Facebook.
YouTube and Facebook, exactly. We won't have to wait for us to do anything. It'll just automatically be live as almost right after it ends.
And I'll wait till they finish.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Steve. You can go back to tech. Okay.
So we have some questions. We have two questions that are kind of similar, so I'm going to say both of them. First, we have from Slice Maximus. Does interviewing these individuals inspire you to enter into politics as a profession? And right under him, we have Aline Taylor. I hope I said that right. Would this experience potentially encourage you to run for an office? So I said both of those because they kind of sound alike. So
and DJ Eileen added to hers. So why don't we do Eileen's
first?
Separate, because remember she added perhaps a career in journalism and television production. So she has a two-part.
Okay.
So Slice is asking politics, and then she's asking politics and journalism, television. Yeah.
So who would you like to answer? So can I answer Eileen's first?
Let's do Slice first.
Okay.
It's on the screen now.
Again, does interviewing these individuals inspire you to enter into politics as a profession? Myself and I've been told numerous of times that I carry myself like a politician. So I've given that some thought, and I think after I'm done with my profession as a data analyst, I would like to run for an office. I would like to run as a senator sometime in my life. Jalen, would you like to answer?
So, interviewing these individuals, I would not go into politics as a profession, but I will be more invested, now that I know that it's not, as boring or, as I thought it was. I was able to learn more and hear what everyone had to say. So I'd most definitely be more invested to learn more about different types of politics and stuff.
I'll go next. Through this time, actually, with the interviews, I really asked myself sometimes, would I want to get into politics? Because I have, like a whole situation where I want to, but I don't. So something that reminded me when I got this question was when I was having kind of like a one-on-one after an interview with Maria Sanchez. I know she's not running anymore, but it was nice because I said, I am doing this, but I'm not really looking into getting into politics. And she said that, well, with the type of individual that you are, your life is already political. So you might as well, get into that. And I, like DJ said, I've been told that I should really try. But I do want to, well, I'll answer that with the next question.
Justin?
Yeah, I actually, as I was doing this, it definitely made me think more about getting into politics, especially after I was talking. I went to a mayoral debate, a few of them. I went to like a good 2 or 3, but one of them that I went to, both of them I went to, I have met not only some people that was on the team of some of these candidates, but even like other people that knew them or they knew of. And just talking to them, I've realized like I am very capable of doing this. And also with me working, in nonprofit, like there's a lot of team management that I have to do. There's a lot of just problem solving that I have to do, which seems like is great for transitioning into politics, and at least at minimum city council. So I've thought, like, if I stay in Philadelphia long enough, if I stay in Philadelphia longer than I plan to, then I definitely would take a crack at running into politics.
Great. And our next question from Eileen Taylor: would this experience potentially encourage you to run for an office? And she added to that question, perhaps a career in journalism, television production, direction, etc. As I stated in the first question that we had answered, the question just before this one, I feel as though I will at some point run to become I would say I would like to run to become a United States Senator. I don't like to hold myself down when there's bigger things there's bigger shots to take their opportunity on. So yes, I think I will run for a United States Senator. Justin, would you like to go next?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually reached out to a good two of the candidates afterward. One of them, Alan Dom, which we spoke about not only trying to get me on the team, and we've talked afterward, but it's been a whole process of scheduling and stuff like that, about, you know, not only being able to work with him under communications and like with helping out with communications, but even also doing a separate interview afterward. And then I also talked to Helen Gim about getting with communications for her. And so I definitely could see myself, whether it's journalism or even, you know, direction in terms of branding and communication for a candidate in the future when it comes to politics, I can see myself getting into that. I do have potential for journalism, but I always felt weird about it. I always felt weird about talking about other people's lives as a career. So, but hey, whatever life lead me.
I'll go next.
Yes.
Specifically with the second question of a career in journalism, television production, and direction, that's what I want for my future. I want to direct, I want to screenwrite and whatnot. So this process of interviewing and doing all this directing and producing, it definitely helped with what I want for myself. And like Justin said, I did try to reach out sometimes and see about getting a little higher than I'm already at with interviewing. But yeah, I definitely see myself doing any journalism, directing, any of that, because I already have stuff established to make that happen.
Jalen?
Yeah, so on to the second question. I do see myself in being in a career of possibly directing or doing television production. I like that experience. It was pretty fun. In my long time career of a few days of directing and working cameras, I can say that, yeah, I would like to do that as a career field to go into. Yeah, I feel like that would be a good career field to go into. Yeah.
I just wanted to add real quick. I feel really dumb. My fault, y'all. I felt really dumb. I thought it was kind of based off of politics for that. I have been actually trying to get plan a future in media for a while. And even while I was up in college and school and stuff, I've done stuff with recording, directing camera crew, and even become part of the camera crew for sports.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sports, basically, for our sporting department. But yeah, in terms of media, like all of that stuff, I'm definitely interested in.
Yes, sir. Well, with that being said, I would love to thank everyone that has been in attendance for this 54 minutes. It means a lot to have the people that watched today. Ms. Nunero, do you have anything to say?
Yes, it does. Yeah, thank you all for showing up for Philadelphia politics, showing up for the youth, showing up for me. If y'all did that. But so no, it really means a lot to have you all a part of this. It's been an incredible journey, and it's amazing to end it off with a live stream. So thank you. And like Steve said before, it will be available. The live stream will be available after. Also, I want to invite everyone to go to the Parks and Rec Heroes Fund website. My computer's a little slow. I don't know if you guys can see it on screen.
Yes.
But going to, can you? Great. So going to Parks and Rec Heroes .org. You could either go to parksandrecheroes.org or go to Parks and Rec Heroes /teen/podcast/team. And then on there, you will find every interview, the full entire interview. So we encourage you all to go watch them. Also, the link is both posted on the YouTube and on the Facebook. So we invite you to watch those. And then also, I just want to acknowledge, if I could scroll, well, I'll bring up the image of all the teens. We have some teens that are not here. So you saw Mariana German interview. She interviewed Amin Brown. She also interviewed Maria Quinones Sanchez. We had AJ, who was not available to come today, same as Israel and Manira, but they were crucial in this. So go support all of these. Oh, and Adriana Lewis, who is away at college doing her finals. So please go support all of these teens and watch the full interviews. And again, we thank you. Oh, and we got to remind y'all one last thing. Hold on, let me take this off screen. The most important thing is to
go vote.
Go vote on May 16th.
May 16th,
y'all.
Next Tuesday. So we 7 days out.
Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is I'm_J with 2 Y's.
Yeah, go bug them and ask them questions about the candidates.
Yep.
Thank you. Also, Jalen, you're following me on Instagram, which I was like, now I gotta watch what I post. But in all seriousness, thank you all. Good evening. As I like to tell everybody, get off, go eat some good food if you haven't already. Get good rest tonight. We'll see what candidates y'all get next week. So all right. Bye,
everybody. Buenos noches. Buenas noches.